Hello and welcome to English Capsules. Today's capsule, I'm not so good. Get your coffee ready and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome one more time. Um, Today, the name of our capsule may sound a little bit odd, like saying I'm not so good. We're not referring to our state right now. We are referring to what could happen to you when you're traveling. So today we're going to have a capsule that is vocabulary related and precisely shit that can happen during a trip. Why shit? Because you want to be on your best when you're traveling. You don't want to get any problems, any drawbacks. But well, sometimes shit happens.
Why sometimes it happens? Mainly because you are making many changes, we could say, because you have to maybe walk more than usual, you are not sleeping so well, you are eating something different. So, um, all these changes in your routine may affect uh, your health in a way, right?
I was thinking the most common thing that happens to a lot of tourists, especially when you go to an all inclusive or one hotel that includes breakfast and all of this, you may, the most common one is that you're going to have a stomach ache,
Sure.
likely to get into vomits and diarrhea. Why? Because we start eating, well, no, we know because I don't. People normally start
People.
people normally start eating a variety of things because it's like I paid for this.
Yeah. It's like when I was saying you go out of your routine, you make changes. In a way, this is what happens. You say, okay, I paid for this and I am going to eat whatever I want. Okay, yeah, but what happens in that case? The consequences, right? So, yeah, headaches, maybe diarrhea, maybe a stomach ache. Then we have food poisoning.
I don't know if that one is very common to happen in a restaurant or in a hotel. Normally they are very
No.
careful.
Maybe this happens in the streets. For example, there are many people who go to Thailand, for instance. Okay. First of all, they eat some things that we usually don't eat on our regular diet. So it can be common to have food poisoning, for instance.
Yeah, I was going to clarify that food poisoning is not when you get a stomach ache because you have eaten too much or this. It's because
No.
whatever you have eaten was contaminated some way, and that provokes a reaction in your body. So
Hmm.
you get food poisoning because the food has not been treated properly. This would be intoxicación alimentaria.
Something else we can have as a consequence is to have a fever, maybe related to what we were saying, maybe related to stomach aches or food poisoning, but also you can have a fever because you are having something else like a sore throat or like a cold. You know that many times it happens that you are traveling to another destination in which the season is different from the one at home. So, for instance, let's say now we are in winter and you decide to travel to the beach. Well, there it is summer, and the thing is that this change in the temperature may make you feel sick, that you get a cold, you have a sore throat, and this may cause the fever. Students ask me, what happens if you get a fever, if you get a sore throat, and if you are in another country? How do you use the medicine in another country? Many people recommend to carry your own kit, like your own medicine, the medicine you regularly have at home to take it with you. But in case you don't do that, there are some names which are very similar to Spanish that you can use. For example, ibuprofen is the same name. This is what I mean.
Like as a traveler, and because I know this from my parents, from the agency, and all of this,
Mhm.
always travel with a health insurance. It's worth paying the
Right.
money and not needing it than needing it and not having it. So
Right.
in the same case that Nati was saying, imagine that you have a high peak of fever that for whatever reason, paracetamol or ibuprofen are not working. Then the most likely thing is you will need to be seen by a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, if you're staying in a hotel, they do have like a service.
Yeah.
Either they have like a mini hospital inside
Mm-hmm.
the hotel, or they have a service in which a doctor can come to your room and see you. In other
Right.
cases, you will have to go to the closest emergency room or ER. And in
Mm-hmm.
all these cases that I'm describing, you need to be covered by a health insurance because if not, you have to pay for all these services. So, yeah, the recommendation, and in most countries, one of the conditions for you to get into the country is that you have hired before a health insurance. So, be very
Mm-hmm.
careful about this when you're traveling. It's also a good idea to check on the policy of the health insurance that you're hiring so that you know what you need to do in case you need it. And something that can happen to you if you go kind of into a more physical trip, not so much to the beach and relaxing and this. I'm thinking of something like Camino de Santiago, which is precisely where this happened to me, or
Okay.
another type of holiday in which you're doing an extreme sport or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
You may twist some part of your body. Like I twisted both my ankles the
Both.
first day. Yes, the
Okay.
first day of Camino de Santiago, which of course resulted in sprains in both ankles.
You know that I have a friend that when you were saying that a more active kind of holiday. I had a friend who twisted her ankle taking a picture. No, she wasn't taking a picture. She was dancing at a disco. She was in an all-inclusive kind of vacation, and at the disco, she twisted her ankle. So it may happen to you, not in an active, in a very like physical, let's say, kind of vacation. It can happen to you dancing. I don't know.
So, another thing that can happen during a trip, particularly if you tend to have bad luck with your teeth, you may have a toothache. Toothaches can have like a variety of causes. Most of the time is because bacteria accumulates, in which case you're going to need antibiotics, which means again, you need the health insurance.
One last thing that we want to mention is allergies. Of course, that we know that if you are allergic to something, you already know this and you will have like your prevention kit. But many times they ask you when you are on the plane, when you are at the restaurant, if you have some allergies, right? We were talking before recording this episode that there are some airlines that require you to travel with something called EpiPen, which is like injection that you have to apply yourself if you get an allergic reaction, like a serious allergic reaction, and your life is in danger. If you're feeling at risk, you can use this.
Not only the EpiPen, like medicines that you normally take, you need to be very careful. You need to pack them somewhere where you're going to be carrying them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put it in your luggage that you're going to dispatch because that one can get lost or can arrive later than you. So
Mm-hmm.
always carry your own medicine. And in cases like this, like allergies, diabetics, and this, don't be afraid because like the airport will allow you to pass security and all of this because it's something that you really need. You don't take
Mm-hmm.
this because you want.
Yeah. And mainly if you're traveling with children also, because it is very common for children to get sick during the trip, right? Something else that now we're speaking about planes, something you may feel on the plane is to be dizzy. Dizziness can happen and it is very common. And maybe you can throw up because you are feeling dizzy.
Dizzy means marearse, in case it's not
Right.
clear. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you may get dizzy on the plane, but you may get dizzy when you visit places with high altitude. This is
Mm-hmm.
very common. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you are like way up over the sea level. Okay, so I would say a good question for our audience is, has any of these common illnesses ever happened to you while you were traveling? Or did
Mhm.
we miss some of them? You can drop a comment with your funny story, like my story and my sprained ankles, and we read you in the comments here in whichever platform you're listening to us, but also in our Instagram account, The English Capsules.
Okay, so before we go, remember to subscribe if you haven't done it yet, give love to our content, and spread the word to help our channel grow.
Also, remember that you can rate our episodes and comment on each capsule. Activate the bell so that you know when our next capsule is out. And take a look at the description and our Instagram account to take more advantage of our content.
Okay, that's all for today. Bye for now.
See you in our next episode.